Hello and welcome to the Justin Hamilton podcast. I am excited to get into this one. Alexei Toliopoulos is back on the podcast, coming in live from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, where his show is doing gangbusters. I've been waiting for Alexei to have a spare moment to talk about two movies specifically, Project Hail Mary and The Drama. For those of you who are signed up to the newsletter, you know that I had been encouraging people to see The Drama ASAP, and finally I get to discuss it with Alexei on this podcast. A few other movies are talked about as well, but they're the two main ones. So look forward to listening to them. And also, I just need to point out, we're going to speak with a lot of spoilers. So if you, for some reason, haven't seen these films yet and don't want them ruined, maybe just hold off before you have a listen. But if you don't mind spoilers, then you'll be completely fine. Before we bring in Alexei, a couple of things. If you aren't signed up to my newsletter, the next edition is coming out this Tuesday. So if you head over to justinhamilton.com.au, you can sign up on the front page. Just remember that you will receive an email that confirms that you are signing up. Look for that in your spam. That for some reason goes there the first time, but once you move it over to your inbox and you confirm, you will be getting information from me every 2 weeks. It'll be suggestions of movies and books and music and all that kind of stuff. It'll give you updates as to what I'm working on. And also, you'll be able to get opportunities for cheap tickets or free tickets to my shows and sometimes to other people's shows as well. I've got a deal going on with Adelaide Comedy and with Good Chat Comedy, where when they have some deals for me, they let me know, they give me a link, and then you can click on them and take advantage of that. Yes, so maybe we'll just get straight into talking movies. I've been dying to get to this, so I think I'm impatient to hold you up for too much longer. I'll swing by at the end, but now let's welcome in Alexei. We have a couple of films that I am dying to talk about with you, and it's been very difficult to not text you or my thoughts and feelings. But since you're the guest, Alexei, I am happy for you to pick which movie do you want to start talking about first. Do you want to talk about Project Hail Mary? Do you want to talk about The Drama, or would you like to start with something else?
I reckon let's talk about Project Hail Mary because I just saw it yesterday.
Yep.
So it's still pretty fresh in my mind.
Yep.
And it was a wonderful big screen experience, I'd say.
Yes. Let's just a heads up, and I will have already warned you in the intro that we're going to talk with spoilers. The intro that I haven't recorded yet because I always record this like I'm Christopher Nolan. So we are going to have spoilers because it'll just be easier to talk about. But in Project Hail Mary, Ryan Gosling plays Ryland Grace, who awakens in an induced coma on an interstellar spacecraft, and he has retrograde amnesia and can't quite work out why he's there or what's going on. And it turns out he's the sole survivor of the three-person crew. He's in a distant solar system light years from Earth, and essentially the movie is him kind of remembering how he got to this position, and over time, revelations are made, while he also not only has to remember why he's there, but once he does remember, he's there pretty much to save the world. He's come to another solar system to work out why all these stars are being destroyed. And yeah, I agree with you. This is a big cinema blockbuster fun experience. It's a little bit like, hey, do you like Arrival? Yeah, I do. Well, there's a bit of Arrival in it. And do you like Interstellar? Absolutely. Which is your favorite scene? The docking scene. Well, we've got something that you're really going to dig. And did you like The Martian? Yeah, I dug The Martian. Well, it's a little bit like The Martian as well. And it ends
even
up...
a little bit of 2001: A Space Odyssey for, I'd say kids or teens, really. Like, I think it nailed all that really well, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all put together in a way that is incredibly entertaining. Gosling is just it's what you want to see from Gosling in this
Mm.
kind of film, where he is just being a movie star, and I think some people don't realize how difficult that is.
Yeah, I think so. Like he really captures the innate charm and charisma that he has, that he can then filter through his natural comedic abilities as
Mm,
well. Like he's able to make the comedic stylings of this character, and for many of the characters he plays in these films, just feel completely at ease with the tone of the film as well. And I
yeah.
think there's something that he's able to do in that which is incredibly watchable. And I think that is like the innate quality he has as a true movie star. I think he's also a great actor, and he's
Mm,
capable of great acting,
mm,
transformative acting, internalized acting, physical acting. But I think his qualities as a movie star is in that effortless humor that he's able to pull out, where he's able to either be bigger than the joke or smaller than the joke, the butt
mm.
of the joke or the instigator of the joke. He's able to do all of that with such seeming ease.
Yes, and it's interesting. There's a few people who I reckon there's a generation of moviegoers
Mm-hmm.
who have known that Ryan Gosling's been around for a long time and may have even seen him in previous films, but since Barbie, where he's
Mm-hmm.
made Barbie, the Fall Guy, and this, and he's just lent into being a movie star, which is sometimes what you want. It was one of the things that made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood so fun was Brad Pitt just being a movie star. And I think there's people that kind of forget that, this is a guy who did Lars and the Real Girl. This is a guy who could do Blue Valentine. He can do lots of different things. He's not just a guy who's got this one note. And I think it's kind of also a little bit dismissive of what he's done between these three films, because I think there is a level of nuance while he's also leaning into everything that does, as you said, make him a movie star.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree. And I think he's very well placed in this film.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the tone this film is aiming for and striving for, it's not dissimilar to when you feel fans of Lord and Miller, or if you followed their work at all, what they've been able to achieve in, their television work or their
Mm.
film work. But it's a really nice return to live action filmmaking for them. The last film I believe they really did was the first Spider-Verse film.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really special film.
Oh, yeah.
But then this, I think, is a really nice in-between of their more broad, juvenile, yet extremely funny comedies like the 21 Jump Street films. And
Yeah.
then their bigger visual ambitions that they were able to pull off in Spider-Verse.
Mm.
I think it's a really nice balance of those, but then it has this really, like I'd say, a lovely, accessible tone that is light, comedic, but still full of emotion.
Mm.
And when I was watching it, it kind of like, it sat really well with me in that I think it can kind of capture the imaginations of like young people.
Yeah.
The way that like many films would have when I was like a preteen teen who was falling in love with film and wanting to kind of find those imaginative portal feeling films that could take me beyond a world that I knew or the world that I understood. Films, like aren't dissimilar from E.T. or something,
Yes.
but then finding them, but then enhancing with like really contemporary and like modern humor. And the relationship that's at the center of this film, I think, is really well done and sweetly done. And a lot of it is because of the perspective of Ryan Gosling and having that slowly reconnecting memory coming throughout. I think is a really lovely touch because it reshapes and rechanges and your understanding and then the character's understanding of his motivations and his emotions.
Mm.
And I think that the where this film finds its like final drive into the climax, and then like a secondary emotional climax after that, I actually think is quite special and a very, very nice example of some clever screenwriting when it comes to emotions in a
Yeah.
unique sci-fi setting.
Yeah, Drew Goddard really knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Mm,
Yeah, there's the relationship with the alien, which is handled well, and there is something nice about seeing a film where, uh, you know, two different types of creatures meet and really are just trying to work out how to work together immediately. That's a nice thing to see, especially in the present day environment that we live, where people of the same species can't get along easily. But also, and once again, spoilers here, but the reveal that he refused to go because he didn't think he was up to it, and them, chasing him and throwing him to the ground and knocking him out and putting him into this induced coma and sending him on his way. It kind of makes that decision at the end to not go home. It makes it feel braver. It makes it feel like the choice has more depth, because this was a guy who initially was like, no, 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 I can't do this.
That was my favorite stuff of the film, and the screenwriting that I thought was the most interesting and the most unique to the film as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times a character like that, and even within the film, it's almost a commentary of it. Where you're like, who's the best man for a job? A man with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But then it also is, well, then it's a man with no motivation.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when he's putting his recollections back together in the film that are just kind of dawning on him slowly, it's not like a thing that he's striving to understand while he's doing this. So he goes from being a heroic character to then being a character who was, he was an unwilling hero. He was unwillingly brave. And then the motivation, it's clear that the motivation now was, it's not humanity, it's not the Earth that he's from that he was trying to save. It's not that he fell in love with someone back at home and wants to save them, or he has something sad in his past. Like, that's really not part of it. The motivation becomes, he's finally found someone who is his friend, who he loves and cares for, and has felt that love and care back on him.
Yeah.
And so I think then the motivations change beautifully to then being like, well, it's about this character Rocky that he loves and cares about and has this strong bond with. And so when the film then goes to becoming a rescue mission for Rocky, and then the mission to save Rocky's planet more than it is to save Earth, it just is a really clever way to tell this story. And I found it quite... Was I moved to tears or anything? No, not really. I don't think it's that kind of movie. But I think it's a kind of just a joyous popcorn blockbuster film that I think teens are really going to love and are going to help them find something deeper out there in film. Hopefully, I think it can be a great gateway film to the sci-fi films you mentioned, Interstellar, Arrival, Contact, 2001: A Space Odyssey. But I think it's really, really fun time. I think it's an incredibly cute film.
Yeah.
And one that I just found just really quite charming.
Yes, charming's the best word for it, I think. I'd have to mention the Sandra Hüller character, who, she's kind of pitched perfectly. Do you know the story about her singing karaoke?
No, but I know she sings karaoke in the movie Tony Erdmann as well, and it's kind of essential to the plot.
Gosling supposedly heard her singing and was just, between takes or warming up or something, and said her voice was incredible, and said, we have this karaoke thing, we need to get you to sing. And she was, nah, I'm not doing that. And then she said, yeah, I will, but the song I'm going to sing is the Harry Styles song. And they were like, okay, that's really expensive. But they got in touch with Harry Styles, who seems genuinely a delight, and I think he paved the way for them to be able to put that song into the movie. I feel like the moment when she's singing and then abruptly says, okay, that's enough, and stops, I feel like that's maybe not acting. That might be Hüller just going, yep, that's heaps. That's all I'm doing.
That's so funny.
But it's, it's such a great scene. I tell you what, it makes you, with the directors of Lord and Miller, it makes you wonder, what would Solo, the Han Solo movie have been like if they'd been able to finish their. By the way, anyone listening who hears that noise, that wasn't Alexei farting, as Tony Martin likes to go looking for on people's podcasts. You were drinking from a little drink pack.
I was drinking a little juice box.
Yeah,
It's my little breakfast.
So everyone just relax and don't get
Just
too
relax,
excited.
guys. I was trying to do it subtly. You're going like, don't reach the end of the drink. Don't reach the end because it will make the slurp.
Yeah, Tony Martin's like, I don't want him to jump to conclusions. Yes, I'd love to know what they would have achieved with their because there were aspects of Solo that I really enjoyed.
I really like so. I think we saw it together, Justin.
Yeah, and Rove.
Yeah, we saw with Rove
Yeah.
and also Kate Jinx, Zoe Koombs-Ma, and Cameron James, and it was. I think I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and I think that especially the visual aspect of this film, I think is quite exciting. The way that this film is able to marry a quite thoughtful sci-fi visual quality, especially that final sequence, or the big climactic sequence, I should say, and the character of Rocky himself, I think, is a lovely visual creation that is unique to this film, that is unique to its placement in sci-fi. It's not an anthropomorphic, it's not like a humanoid character. It is something different, and it feels quite imaginative and quite well achieved. Where you buy Rocky almost all the time.
It's hard to get aliens right in movies, and Arrival, I think, gets it right, where you do feel, oh my god, this is something I can't quite comprehend. And Rocky, and then they use practical effects as well, and I think that helps with the being able to believe in the character, because he feels substantial. He feels like
He takes
he's
up physical space as well.
Yeah.
And before we move on, I just want to say, obviously, I loved the Rocky Adrian stuff. Obviously, I loved it.
Yeah, all of it was great. Yeah, all of those things were fantastic. I was going to say, there's talk of a sequel, and I wonder if they had known that there was a possibility of a sequel. I reckon the movie would have finished differently. I think the movie would have finished with Sandra Hüller getting the message that Gosling's going after him, and that's how the film would have ended. It would have ended a little bit more Interstellar rather than, like it gets to the end and you go, well, that's the end.
Yeah.
How are you supposedly going to make a sequel out of this? But
I reckon the sequel should be like a Welcome Back Kotter type thing, where he's teaching at the little school on the alien rock planet. I think that would be interesting. Or Half Nelson. Just remake Half Nelson.
Half Nelson.
With Ryan Gosling again on a little rock planet.
Yeah, Half Grace. There you go. That's good to go. I do. You know, Better Call Saul was originally perceived to be a sitcom of when they first were thinking about spinning him off, and so I do like the idea of a welcome back, Gracie. It's just him.
I think that's lovely.
Okay, Project Hail Mary, definitely worthwhile. I'm glad that it's been a big hit, and definitely if you're thinking about will I go, will I not go, just head to the cinema, have a really good time. And, just feel good about a lot of shit. It's like, I think we need more people like, we need more middle-aged male role models. And I feel like Gosling is just the guy for us, right?
I agree. Great actor.
All right. Let's get into the drama. I have no idea how you feel about this film. I have been, I've seen this film a couple of times now, written and directed by Christopher Borgli. This stars Zendaya and Robert Pattinson as a couple who are about to get married, and they're planning their wedding, and they have their best friends who are also a couple, helping them pick out food and drink for the wedding, and somehow the conversation devolves into talking about the worst things that you've ever done. So their friends, Mike and Rachel, before they got married, confessed the worst things they'd ever done. They bring up and they share them. Robert Pattinson's character confesses his, and then Zendaya playing Emma confesses hers, and everything turns pear-shaped. This film is getting 5-star reviews, 1-star reviews about we need to defend this ending, or I don't know if you should have used that as a topic, or I don't think Americans really know what they're talking about when it comes to themselves. It's a broad range of reactions, and I'll be honest, I thought it was great.
I will also be honest, I loved the drama.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Look,
tremendous amount of fun.
I felt confident, but
Yeah.
you hadn't even responded to my last text message of if you had gotten to it, and I was like, all right,
I'm
this is,
keeping you in suspense. But
you
yeah,
are.
I really loved it. It was a tremendous amount of fun.
Yeah.
And I think what it does best, like it really prickles and challenges the audience in a way that a dark comedy really should.
Yes.
Like it's a very challenging subject matter. And I think I already had known the subject matter going in. Like when the trailer first came out and there was like that little tease of like there's something, a big reveal in here. I just saw a comment and I could never forget it. And I go, I think that must be it because that's a great premise for a film.
Right.
And just always stuck with me. But that didn't hamper any of my enjoyment of the film at all. I think going in not knowing what the reveal is could be quite special. Was it a special experience to like find it in the cinema?
Yeah, because I managed to avoid everything. And once again, spoilers, of course, but sitting there thinking, okay, what's it going to be? And the three examples that you get from the other friends are all varying degrees of horrific. And
in particular, Alana Himes, which I think is very interesting to have the villain of the film do something. You go, well, she actually did something really bad.
Mate, she is so good. And I hated Rachel with a burning passion. I hated Rachel from the first scene where she's sitting around the table with Zendaya's character, and I was like, "Oh, gross!" And then the more the movie continued, the more I just hated her, and I think it's her best acting.
It's a great performance, Hammer,
It's
because
so good.
She is so good at playing someone who is so self-centered and a bad friend who is unable to empathize with anyone outside of their own experience, and and anything that she does exhibit any kind of like thoughtful or emotion, quote unquote, is so self-motivated and so like aggrandizing and like I just thought it was a spectacular performance. I think the performances across the board are fantastic. Zendaya is amazing in this film, I think.
Brilliant.
And Robert Pattinson is so good at playing like this freaking bozo. Like he's so good at playing a putsy bozo, and he's perfect in this film.
I love him so much, and he is a fucking pussy.
Yeah, they're so captivating, and they're really engrossing when they're together.
Yes.
Like Zendaya and Rob Pattinson are such a great team up, and a bit of an out of the box one in an interesting way that just works beautifully here. I'd also like to say in the supporting cast, along with Alana Haim, Haley Gates, who plays Rob Pattinson's assistant in this film.
Yes.
An interesting character actor and filmmaker who is... with this film, I go, she is like one of the great modern character actors.
Yes.
And then Jordan Currett, who plays the young Zendaya, the younger version of that character. I think that was a fantastic performance, especially those moments of surrealism when you get to see her through Robert Pattinson's perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's a challenging role, and it's like probably one that might go a bit unsung. I think it was a fantastic young performance.
Oh my Lord. You know, I completely agree with you across the board. The woman who's the photographer is outrageously good, like almost too good for she is delivering every line perfectly and at 100 miles per hour. Even the florist, who only gets like 3 lines, makes an impact. Everyone in this film is so great. You know, going through let's just go through the different things that they admitted to. Robert Pattinson's character cyberbullied someone.
Yeah, but it also felt like he didn't do that. He just had to come up with something in the moment.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. Did you believe him? I felt like he was reaching.
Yes, I felt that.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
he plays such a good, boring guy that's never done really anything. But then
No.
also like, maybe hiding because like he tried some real pickup artist stuff with her, and you go, well, that guy's never going to admit to anything he's actually ever done until he has his complete humbling moment throughout the entire film, the most humiliating, humbling experience. You go, well, now he's a real person by the end of the film.
Yes, he's finally a real boy. His best man Mike, who got his girlfriend at the time, took her down to Mexico and then used her as a human shield when a dog attacked, is pretty diabolical. Rachel taking her childhood neighbor, who she, and I'm using this in quotation marks, slow, and locked him in a cupboard and didn't tell anyone, and in a park, and luckily he was found, and she shows absolutely no remorse,
No, not at all.
like not one hint of empathy in her retelling of the story. And so,
And
but
it's electric to see. When you're at that
oh
table
yeah,
with them, it's like, oh my God, what a great, great, great way she performs it.
yes, yes, so good. And Emma talking about how she planned a school shooting, and it's this is one of those things where I've seen people say, that topic's too much. It shouldn't be used in a film. I think some people who have been victims of shootings or been caught up in one have pushed back against it. But when things are made and they're being commented on, they're not commenting on your specific experience. They're commenting on the broader experience. And I know it's hard not to take things personally, but I think the moment that really sums it up is when Patterson brings up the shooting and Rachel's just like, oh, so this is an American culture thing, is it? And it's like, yeah, Rachel, it is. It really is. And the inability to listen to what Zendaya's character went through, and rather than unpacking how these things can happen, because in the revelation of the story, she plans a shooting and she's just lashing out, and she's just, as she said, it's in the zeitgeist. It's more about posing. I still don't know if the character was ever going to go through with it. I think it was more this play acting to kind of have some sort of control in her life. And then as soon as she finds a community that she's accepted by, everything dissipates and everything's fine, which is probably the message, is reaching out to people and not letting them feel alone, and being a part of a community and somehow could be one of the ways of solving this issue if you're not going to do the right thing, which is not make guns so damn available.
Yeah,
But
not letting people be alone in their worst thoughts.
yes, but instead, everyone kind of turns on him. I feel like the message of this film is, if you've got a shit friend, you need to fuck them off immediately.
Yeah, I agree.
Because also, if Patterson and Zendaya, their characters of Charlie and Emma, like, they're great together, because he's a bit of a doofus, she's a bit weird. And when they're together, they're fine. And sometimes you've got to not let other people come in and poison what you have.
Yeah, I think it does a really good job of communicating all of that in a tremendously fun way.
Yeah.
It made me want to revisit Christopher Borley's other films. Of course, Dream Scenario, which was a fairly big indie art housey type hit.
Yeah.
In that kind of same comedy space, starring Nicolas Cage. But his two films previous to that, I thought, were just fantastic. He made a film called Sick of Myself, which I've recommended to you because I believe it would be a more accurate title for The Worst Person in the World, where they're weirdly, I think, quite similar films. But if you like the humor of the drama, it's it's a challenging film. It's a
Okay.
really good film.
Yeah.
And then the film that he made previous to that was this movie called Drib, which is a documentary hybrid film that I saw at Sydney Underground Film Festival. God, like maybe even like 10 years ago now.
Right.
And it was just this film that I thought was really fantastic, and there's never been a way to see it again. So I always am trying to just tell people Drib's awesome. So then hopefully someone just puts it on a streaming service eventually.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'd definitely check that out. Yeah, this film does seem to have a lot of misinterpretations because they get, they focus on the wrong part. Lots of people seem to be really upset with those scenes with Patterson and the younger actress playing Emma and saying how creepy it is, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's him finally, that's him trying to work her out. That's him
Yeah.
trying to. He's had this idealized vision of his partner, and this is him getting to know her, and it's him trying to find empathy.
I think there must be something in like a contemporary cinema audience where like if you look at just compare and contrast the two films that we've just talked about, like the drama is a challenging, dark comedy
Yeah,
about something really awful, but it's trying to show it in a humanistic way where with like a humanist touch going like, this is a big problem in America. How many times has a school shooting happened in America? Like, it's an uncountable amount of times.
yeah,
And then how many times must it have just not happened as well?
yeah,
Like, I think that's a really interesting thing to be looking at.
yeah.
It's a dark and challenging thing to be looking at. I think there's a lot of people that have a hard time not just seeing, not being able to accept the challenges of art and
Yeah,
the discussions and debates that art presents.
yeah,
And I think that for a lot of people, they just want to go and see a nice time and experience something nice and not be challenged and not have to see and just be like, well, every character was perfect, so that's good. I didn't have to think about anything that was dark. And I go,
yeah,
every character was good and everyone was perfect and there was no bad guy. And then you look at the other movie we talked about, it's exactly that. Like,
yeah.
it's a really nice, fun, cute movie, Project Hail Mary, but it's not challenging in absolutely any way. And
No.
everybody is really nice in the movie. And, it's not about anything kind of like deeply moral or anything like that. It's not really a debate or a conversation. And even like the political stuff is like so deeply not even backgrounded, like non-existent. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something happening to Earth. I guess if you can glimpse that the countries have come together to try and do this thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a glimpse to even see that. Like
Yeah.
none of that is in the forefront. It's not like it's climate change. It's like, is it about climate change? Maybe. But like, no, not really.
Not really,
And
no.
and then it's a movie that's like having like, pretty much universal acclaim, but it's like,
Yeah.
but it's an unchallenging film. That's why I keep thinking like it's, a great teen film because
Yeah,
like I would have loved that movie as a teenager. Now I'm very charmed by it. I think it's
Yeah.
it's a really nicely made film, but it's like it's interesting to have these two films compare and contrast. So I think it really is speaking about the way audiences are, where some people are really looking for something deep and engaging, something that's a bit harder edged, and then some people need escapism. And I think that's where we are cinematically at the moment in a bit of a nutshell, I'd say.
yeah. It's I think it's the continuous dumbing down of art into entertainment over pretty much this century, and even like Project Hail Mary feels like a modern day Spielberg. But if you go back and you watch E.T.,
Yeah.
E.T. is scary and it questions authority, and it doesn't even. It only films two of the grown-ups pretty much from the waist up. It's still got something that's got a bit more of an edge.
And it's a
And
very strong point of view. It's a very
Yes.
strong point of view film.
yes, whereas I think the drama is just brilliant, and the two audiences I've seen it with have been young, and they have laughed really hard all the way through it. And I feel like you eavesdrop on people as you're walking out, and it's a discussion movie. You know, it's a movie where you're meant to walk out and go, geez, what's the worst thing that I've ever done? And, you know, God, whose side were you on? And yes, don't we agree that Rachel is the worst?
Yeah.
The biggest villain in 2026 in movies or TV, books or anything that I've consumed this year. You know, I Rachel should be the new Karen. Karens are let off the hook. It's all about Rachel's now. So, well, I'm glad that you love that. We didn't even get into the stuff about her being deaf in one ear. Like I knew Patterson's character was from the moment where he hits on her the first time and she says, "Do you want to try over?" And he just kind of sits down like a goofball.
Yeah.
And the ending to me. I've seen people kind of complain that the ending's a little bit pat, but I don't think it is at all. I feel like the ending is, I have a feeling they're actually at this moment going to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Finally. Not just this idealized version of each other. Do you have any other films that you would like to throw my way? I've got a few
Yes.
that I can, but you go.
Yeah, there's one that I saw. It's on Disney Plus. While I'm in this tour mode, I'm in the middle of my comedy festival tours. I actually find it quite hard to let things in. That's probably why we're talking about Project Hail Mary and the drama, 2 weeks after they came out, because it took me that long to be able to get to see both in the cinema.
Mate, I was happy to wait for you as well. I've even in my newsletter, I send a thing saying, "Hey, everyone see the drama because at some point Alexei and I are going to talk about it, and I want you to see it."
And so I kind of find it hard to let things in. So I watch a lot of action movies as the thing. And there's a new one on Disney Plus that I really enjoyed. And I think the people of this podcast might get a kick out of it. It's a movie called Mike and Nick and Alice. And it's a tough title to remember, but it's by Ben David Grabinski, I think a very good director. And the last project of his that I really loved was he was the creative force behind the Scott Pilgrim animated TV show that Netflix put out a year or two ago, which I think is excellent. And if you haven't seen it and you love the movie Scott Pilgrim, just watch the first episode and you will be so into this show.
Okay.
But Mike and Nick and Alice is... I'm just going to read you the premise. Two gangsters and the woman they love try to survive the most dangerous night of their lives. As if that wasn't enough, there's one wild ingredient added to the mix. A time machine. And this film stars Vince Vaughn a couple of times. And James Marsden and Isa Gonzalez, Keith David, Stephen Root. It's a great cast. But what I think it does most successfully it was exactly the film that I needed on the night that I saw it. Which is a bubbly action comedy that is genuinely so much fun, but is also the ideal delivery system for this kind of very peppy, inventive action and stylized dialogue that Vince Vaughn is, the best person in the world at delivering. So it's a great Vince Vaughn film, great Vince Vaughn premise, and great Vince Vaughn two character work, really. But it's just a great, fun action film. And it's kind of the thing that you would think of, maybe the kind of film that I wish Edgar Wright was making at the moment.
Yes.
And
I do know your frustrations with your Wright relationship.
Yeah, and I think the action is just fantastic. It's inventive, it's exciting, it never stops being fun. But yeah, I think this one's flying a bit under the radar. And I think it is worth seeing if you want a little bit of at-home escapism, to see something that's fun, bursting with character. But really, it's about the action for me in this film.
Okay, that's good. Purely by chance, when you're tired and you don't really feel like engaging with anything new and you're not sure what you're feeling like. And I was like, you know what? I didn't particularly think the second season of True Detective was very good, but I wonder if it's better than I have been remembering it. And I went back and I rewatched the first couple of episodes. I was like, no, I reckon I'm pretty right. But Vince Vaughn in that is, I think he's either miscast or his storyline is so damn boring that you kind of can't quite engage with it. Do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
to hear it's him being back in his wheelhouse of the types of scripts that he's the best at delivering sounds really appealing to me.
I think you'll have a fun time.
Yeah. I saw one to throw your way. I saw a comedy drama anthology film, Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, with
Oh, the new
written
Jim
direct.
Jarmusch film.
Yeah, and it stars Tom Waits, Adam Driver, Mayim Bialik.
Mayim
Uh,
Bialik,
God,
Blossom herself, I believe.
it's so funny. It's one of those names that I've read so many times, and then you suddenly go, "Oh, I have to say this out loud." Kate Blanchett, etc., etc. Look, his films are very specific. These are three anthology stories that don't necessarily connect, but they do feel like they match. They match with colors. They match with, kind of rhythms of the storyline. I reckon I really loved it. I thought it was a really good character study in all three stories. I could imagine some people getting to the end and going, "What was that about?" And it's like, well, it's about the stories and it's about those characters within it. If you don't engage with the characters in it, I think it would be a bit of a tough watch. But if you're looking for something that is pretty intellectual and like his films, takes its time, quite funny in places, quite sweet in other places, I really thought that was worthwhile seeing. What else do you have? Have you seen anything else? I've
The
got a
only other
few
thing I
more for you.
saw, which was like I hate to end on a negative note, but I watched a movie on Disney Plus called In the Blink of an Eye, which is a
Oh
new
yeah.
film by director Andrew Stanton, probably best known for his animated work with Wall-E. He also directed what I think is a bit of an underrated sci-fi fantasy film.
Mm,
John Carter, aka John Carter of Mars, based on the Edgar Rice Burroughs serials.
yeah.
And this new film, In the Blink of an Eye, is a sci-fi film.
Mm,
And this really was not for me. I think it was, in my opinion, for me, a humiliatingly sincere experience.
mm.
And it is basically a story in
What a
three
way to describe
parts.
it.
Oh, mate. Like, I saw someone describe this film as, like, if 2001 A Space Odyssey was intercut with the prehistoric man sequence throughout. Because this film has three storylines. One is set in prehistoric man, caveman times, about a family of Neanderthals. Then the second story is set around our time with Rashida Jones playing like a university student, someone going for a doctorate, and she's starting a new relationship with David Diggs, and then her mum is dying at the same time. So it's kind of about a family growing. I think it's all kind of about families growing, actually, is what this is about. And then the third storyline is set in the future, and it's Kate McKinnon in a non-comedic role. Sorry to say that with such malice in my heart, but I just didn't like this movie very much. But she was on like a space station or a spaceship,
Uh,
maybe trying to repopulate something. She had like all these like gooey embryos and stuff, and
uh,
so it's interesting to have seen basically back to back Project Hail Mary in this movie, because I think that there's a lot of similarities and dissimilarities that don't do In the Blink of an Eye any favors.
right.
So it's these three storylines, they're all intercut. It's kind of like if Cloud Atlas had no personality and nothing interesting to say, like nothing uniquely interesting to say. Like I think this film, it's a sincere expression from Andrew Stanton,
Yeah.
who's a very good filmmaker, but it has absolutely nothing new or interesting or unique to say to it. Maybe it does, and maybe it just didn't work on me. Who knows? I try not to be too judgmental,
Yeah.
but I think it was really ugly. in that it just looked like, some TV show. Like,
Right.
he just had no visual interest, and I think that he's a great visual filmmaker. So I found it
Yeah.
really curious. That just looked like a TV show.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of movie that you go, you can't believe it's 90 minutes long, because everything I just talked about how it's set over like thousands of years, and it's like 90 minutes. So I think they had to cut it down heaps. And it feels longer than that, obviously, because it's not interesting.
Well,
But
well, my argument always is people complain about the length of films, and my pushback is a film needs to be as long as it needs to be. And sometimes movies are too long, but sometimes that too long can be 90 minutes. Like
yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
even going to mention a film that I saw because it was an Australian film, and I don't want to rag on Australian stuff, but I saw a film that was barely 82 minutes and I was
You
struggling.
felt every second of it.
Like it was killing me. And where there is something like Project Hail Mary, which is what, 2.5. It's like just keeps moving. So what was that film again? Just so I don't see it.
It's called In the Blink of an Eye,
In
not
the
to be
blink of an eye.
confused with one of the best books about filmmaking ever by Walter Murch, In the Blink
Right.
of an Eye.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with that.
It also sounds a little bit like The Fountain.
Yeah.
Do you know
More
what I
like
mean?
the freaking the bubbler. It's got nothing.
The bubbler. I can't hear about bubblers without thinking of Greg Fleet's famous routine about how he was scared of falling teeth first into a bubbler, and so his last thoughts before he died would be, "Oh, my fucking teeth." It's I think it's what you're saying is true, which is people are good movie makers, and then sometimes it just doesn't come together. One of those films that I thought I wasn't offended by this film, but it just didn't quite mesh is Crime 101, which is written and directed by Bart Layton, starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, Halle Berry, Monica Barbaro, and this is a film about a guy called Mike, played by Hemsworth, who's an elusive and disciplined jewel thief, planning robberies to avoid violence and DNA evidence. And Ruffalo plays the detective after him, and etc. etc. And it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And it looks good, but in a way that lots of movies you've seen that are really good look. And the performances for the most part are pretty good. Monica Barbaro is really fantastic as the love interest. Mark Ruffalo is absolutely someone you can rely on. I hate to be honest, I just think Hemsworth is, you think of and this is not one for one because they're different types of characters, but someone like Gosling, who can play the lead character and Drive and be taciturn and just hold your focus. And Hemsworth is just he's just a little bit down. He's just when he's not got much to say, you can't work out why this woman would still be interested in him, apart from the fact that he looks like Chris Hemsworth, and he's so handsome.
Yeah.
But
I remember I saw Chris Hemsworth. I did like an event, and I saw him from behind. I go, the back of his head looks better than the front of mine. That's how handsome he is.
Wow, that's a handsome back of the head. It's one of those films that it gets to the end. It's got an all right ending. It doesn't quite feel earned. I think this is a film that if you just want to have a breezy Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and you don't want to think too much about it, I think it's fine.
I really want to see it because I quite like the director Bart Layton a lot. His two previous films, the documentary hybrid films of The Imposter, which I think is a must-see documentary, and American Animals, I think is the go-to example of what documentary hybridity can be, in that it is a factual film, it is a documentary, but it's also narrative film starring Evan Peters and Barry Keoghan. I think they're really great. So I'm curious to see what he does with Crime 101. I just have not had the chance to get to it yet, but it sounds like the kind of movie that has my number written all over it during my touring season.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? It is a perfect touring film. I'll just hit you up with a couple of other quick ones. I saw The Stranger, directed by Francois Ozon, who also did the screenplay,
Yeah.
which is the film adaptation of Albert Camus' 1942 novella The Stranger. I thought this was pretty fantastic and pretty well done. And for someone who knows the story, like I've read the book, I still found the movie to be pretty mesmerizing. And Benjamin Voisin, who plays the lead character, is perfectly cast. So that I thought that was great. I saw Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, which is the film that finishes the series. It's fine. I feel like Peaky Blinders was one of those series that was, I think at the end of the second season, I was like, wow, this series is phenomenal. And then it became a little bit more style than substance. And the movie makes a couple of decisions. It doesn't really feel like it rolls properly from the last season into this season. Directed by Tom Harper, screenplay by Stephen Knight. It's got Rebecca Ferguson, Tim Roth, Sophie Rundle, Barry Keoghan again, Stephen Graham in it. But I'll be honest with you, the movie is kind of a bit average, but geez, Cillian Murphy's really good, even with average material. Like he elevates some scenes where you're like, damn, you are just on top of your game at the moment. But, I don't know if it's... Once again, it's a film that I would suggest, maybe a good touring.
Yeah,
film.
I've never seen a minute of Peaky Blinders, though.
Oh, well,
so
you
I'm
might
like,
be fine. You might be
Yeah.
able to just watch it and go, oh, yeah, I kind of get what's going on here.
I don't know. I find it hard to just jump into something at the end, so who knows? Maybe I'll watch the series one day.
One day. And finally, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I saw The Magic Faraway Tree, directed by Ben Gregor, screenplay by Simon Farnaby, who did Paddington 2 and Wonka, starring Andrew Garfield, Claire Foy, Nicola Coughlan. But it was a delight. It was such a delightful film. It made me feel a little bit emotional. Andrew Garfield being sincere. If anyone's seen Andrew Garfield when he spoke to Elmo about his mother dying, and it's that energy.
Wow.
The whole film. It is really, really sweet. I laughed a lot, and I think it's a delightful film to take the whole family to.
A friend of mine really loved it, so I've been interested to see it because I loved those books growing up. I loved Enid Blyton, so be maybe a nice way to revisit that.
Yeah, and as I said, pretty funny, and Paddington 2 is a perfect film, and Wonka is. I thought Wonka was a surprising delight. When I first saw Wonka was coming out, I was like, oh god, this is going to be awful. Saw it. Ended up having a really good time. So yes, let's finish on that because that is the the positive. Yeah. So this is coming out tomorrow, Alexei, which is the 16th of April. That means you have 4 more days of performances at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
Yeah, it does, and they're all sold out, Hamo.
Ah, well, suck shit. Anyone who wanted to go who can't make it.
Yeah, but hopefully that FOMO is going into your system because likely I will return with my show VHS, which my dear friend Justin Hamilton has helped me on greatly.
Right.
Then I'll be coming to Sydney, and I've got one big show left that there are still tickets available on the 17th of May. I'll be in Brisbane in next week, basically. When you're hearing this, it'll be next week. And then after that, I'm in Perth for one night, the 14th of May. So come to see the show anywhere of those places. If you love Hamo, you'll love this show because he had a big hand in helping me get it together. But also, I think Hamo and I have shared many sensibilities for a long time. So I think that there's a lot in there that if you're a guy like Hamo, you would delight in.
Mate, the truly one of the highlights of the year has been working on your show for me. Like a genuine, like just loved it. I loved being in Adelaide and seeing the first few shows, and digging into build helping you build
Hmm.
it. But there's one particular routine that has every time I think about how it started off as a conversation on a tram and then built
Yeah.
into, well, how long does it go? That
I
particular
reckon it
routine
goes for
goes
about 7 or 8 minutes.
7 or 8 minutes, and
Yeah.
it is a routine that is jam packed with information, jokes, has a real momentum, and has such a satisfying climax. And I bumped into Stephen Curry at the Rhino
Hmm.
Room. I think you did that night as
Yeah.
well. And having Stephen Curry want to find out how did you guys come up with that was like, oh yeah, Stephen Curry wants to hear how we designed that one
Hmm.
particular routine was very exciting.
It's grown only more manic since our Adelaide journey.
Yes.
To I've become more passionate about it. It's one
Yeah.
of those things where weirdly you can do something night and night again, and you kind of lose the passion. To
Yeah.
me, I get more incensed by this. 'Cause I go, "Hey, this
Yeah.
is crazy that this has
Yeah.
happened." And it's been very fun doing
Yeah.
it in Melbourne. Just when I hear people laughing ahead of the joke, and I go, people know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Very early. Some
Yeah.
people, you could like little patch of the audience, you could hear them coming in early. There was one night where I had this must have been like a 19-year-old kid and his mum sitting in the front row. And they were Greek as well. They were Greek movie nerds. So I go, this is my people. So I basically
Yeah.
delivered the whole show to these two people. But I could just see him nudging his mum and like whispering, like, it's happening. And
Ah.
stuff like that, like early, and I go, oh, this is good, this is so good. And then Demi DiGiuiba, who's one of my favorite comics, in America right now, we caught up for lunch the day after he saw my show, and I was like, man, I could hear you laughing like a minute before anyone else during
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
bit. I go, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's such a. I remember back in 2004, before comic stories were as prevalent in mainstream,
Mm.
and I started off a show by telling the audience my origin, but I was essentially telling them the origin of Batman Begins. And some nights, as he said, you'd hear people laughing at different
Mhm.
points as they got it. But my favorite nights were by the time that no one was getting it, and I had joined Ra's al Ghul's League of Shadow and had
Oh
become a
my
ninja.
god.
And you just keep going until eventually everyone clocked what you were talking about. But it's a great show. It is not only a perfect encapsulation of who you are, what you're into, and what you do, but it's a joyful show. And I think if people are feeling stressed about life and they're feeling the darkness of the everyday world kind of rotating around you, take some time out, go and see Alexei's show. You'll not only laugh, you'll not only have a good time, but you'll feel a level of joy that is an important emotion to feel at this point in time. So I can't encourage everyone all over Australia enough.
Oh, thank you so much, Hamo.
Mate, always a pleasure to see you. I'll let you go because I know you've got something coming up in 12 minutes. So we will speak again soon.
Bye, Hamo. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. Thank you to Alexei for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the drama Project Hail Mary, any of the films that we have discussed. So please get in touch with me via my website. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of those films. God, I really dug the drama. I had a good feeling that Alexei and I would be pretty much aligned with both of those films. And I don't know, he's kind of made me want to check out that Disney film as well, even though it does not sound very good. But I don't know, there's just something so much fun about the way Alexei talks about films. It's like, well, even the ones that sound a bit crap sound like I want to check them out as well. So maybe I'll have to give that a bit of a go. Yes, as always, there are 2 live shows that I've recorded and filmed that are up on YouTube. You can watch them. This week's previous podcast is one of those shows just as an audio file. So if you would like to just be able to listen to it, you can do so. But if you would like to watch it, you can find it on my YouTube page. As always, I've got writing up on Substack. I have shows that are coming up, specifically in Brisbane, but soon I'll be touring regional New South Wales. All of that stuff can be found over at my website. If you would like ad-free versions of this podcast and be able to access bonus podcasts and shows that are like works in progress and all sorts of bonus material, you can find all of that stuff over at Patreon. And once again, if you wanted to find the links for that, head to justinhamilton.com.au, head to the stuff page, and you will be able to click on the links and they will take you to wherever you need to go. I will be back next week with 2 more podcasts, and I think Garth and I are definitely going to be recording. We've got some more book stuff to talk. I've been reading slowly this month, so Garth will be doing a lot of heavy lifting, and the couple of things that I read were a bit, oh, well, yeah, they're not always going to be winners, but one of the things that I'm reading at the moment is just a little bit more dense than I realised, so it's just taken me a bit longer. I'll see if I can try and finish it before I get to chat with Garth, but that'll be coming up soon. And I reckon we'll try and get Malkin because the pit finishes this Friday, so I'd like to get into a discussion with that with Malk ASAP. So all of that, Dave Anthony will be coming back soon, Tegan Higginbotham will be coming back soon, and the usual random guests, so keep an eye out for that. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you're well, and I look forward to catching up with you again next week. Until then.